Jeffrey Epstein. I guess he didn't exist.
Dude, I just feel like every time I'm on this show, we continue to just get blessed with a slate that is out of this world.
Yeah.
Out of this world.
So, how did we get here?
Where exactly is here? I mean, how did we get to
Pam Bondy saying that there's no Epstein client list at all?
Yeah, I mean,
we'll play the video.
Right. I don't understand how we got to a point where now everything is just being backtracked. And now we have a president who is just pretending like nobody should care about this list, even though that it's one of the fucking main key points that he ran on was that he was going to uncover this list. Actually, let me backtrack that statement because he has always kind of been up in the air about this list.
This is true.
If you go back, I misspoke there because if you go back, he was always, yes, I'll release the JFK files, the MLK files, then asked about Jeffrey Epstein, and he's kind of hesitant.
Yes.
Like, he's very, well, I don't want to damage anybody's reputation. It's like,
right.
What are you talking? Like, these people are still alive. I don't blur the names of the fucking the poor women that were on this island. That's not who I'm after.
Right.
I'm after these corrupt, disgusting politicians, which are 99% on this fucking list.
And the issue is that now, all of a sudden, DOJ Pam Bondy, the nation's top cop, just said that Epstein's client list doesn't exist after talking about it for years. So here's the clip that we're referencing.
Let's take a look.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients? Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
So have you seen...
So you just heard her there. You just heard her there telling that there was a client list, okay?
She had a loophole today.
Right.
She had a loophole today. I don't know. Do you have the video from today?
You should.
Where she addresses the allegations that she said that there was a client list. She claims that it's the file in entirety. However, we're not getting anything. Regardless of the list of the file, we're not hearing anything. There's no phase 2. Everything has been done in the phase 1. I mean, it's disgusting. It's ridiculous. And to have every single person who's sitting up here sweep it under the rug to talk about those terrible floods in Texas, which rightfully so. However, this is something that, yes, Donald Trump, we're still going to question.
And so a lot of people have been pissed. Okay, so you saw Pam Bondy talk about how there was an Epstein client list, right? We put that up there for a reason. It was yesterday that she then denied that there was a client list, okay?
Oh, was that yesterday?
I believe yesterday or today. Was it today?
It was today, I
okay.
believe.
Well, I've seen a lot of stuff. Anyway, but everybody is really, really mad about Donald Trump saying enough about Epstein. Why are you still talking about him? And he was at this Texas flood relief press conference today, and he was asked about it, and here is him saying exactly that.
He did work for an intelligence agency, so could you resolve whether or not he did, and also could you say why there was a minute missing from the jailhouse tape on the night of the Saturday?
Yeah, sure. If
Pam, could I just interrupt for 1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years.
Why does he pretend like he doesn't know who
we
he
have
is?
Texas,
That's
we
my
have this,
favorite
we have
part.
all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable.
This guy,
Do you want to waste the time?
The guy whose boat I had sex with my wife on?
Coincidentally enough, Shide, do you know that there came out that there was audio between Epstein and Trump?
No.
We have this.
I need to hear the audio now. What? What audio? All right. Well, I mean, I can't wait to pull it up.
Yeah, so this audio right here, it shows Epstein saying that Trump was his closest friend for 10 years.
He is able to convince people, so he tells everybody what they want to hear.
So how do you know this?
That was closest friend.
He has a sense of humor. He can be funny.
He's right.
So if you didn't hear that right, we'll play it loud. But look at this once again, and look at the captions here. It says, I was Donald's closest friend for 10 years.
People, so he tells everybody what they want to hear.
So how do you know this?
That was closest friend.
He has a sense of humor. He can be funny.
He's
The
right.
whole thing.
And now before that,
His ability-
hang on. Before that, did you get what he said?
He tells everybody what they want to hear. Ain't that some shit?
We got played.
Did we get played twice?
We got played.
We'll play the whole thing.
Yeah.
To sell. It's very much like Clinton. Both Bill and Donald have the ability to go over to a fat, ugly woman, say, you are the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. So you probably know he had a scalp reduction. Because he had the same male pattern woman that we all have. But he's not he's a horrible human being. He does nasty things to his best friends' wives. Anyone who he first tries to gain your trust and then uses it to do bad things. That's how he goes. Charming. He is able to convince.
So that came straight from the horse's mouth. If you heard that recording, I hope it was loud enough for you. But Epstein is saying Trump is a bad person. He does bad things for personal gain. He does bad things to his wives, his friends,
His
everybody.
friends' wives.
Friends' wives.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I mean,
Epstein telling the truth first off, which is crazy.
It's a double-edged sword because we're also taking all this slander against Donald Trump from someone who is obviously a known rapist. Regardless, he had the island. He trafficked women to himself, possibly. I mean, we don't have anything to prove that he was trafficking to anybody else. However, why do we always get this influx that we can't trust the media, that we can't trust these fucking politicians? Now all of a sudden we can't trust Donald Trump. Like, I feel like we got duped, Luke. We got duped.
Well, here's the thing. Trump was the one that started this whole thing with, like, you can't trust the media, the fake news narrative. Like, he started all of that terminology.
Right.
And I've been thinking about this for a while, and I'll talk about that in a second. But it is very interesting. I don't know if we have been duped necessarily for everything, but certainly on the Epstein thing. I mean, people are pissed, bro. We'll go through the list right here. I have a couple videos lined up of commentators that they're just really mad about this, and then somebody that's very happy about the official narrative. So we'll play his last.
Yeah.
But this first one is Candace Owens kind of talking about how, listen, like, she's saying, like, I was right throughout the whole thing.
There's a lot of people that were right. And there's a lot of people on the right who are very critical of Donald Trump in the first place. I mean, the problem is, and I will stand on this, I'll die on this hill, that he was the better of the two candidates that ran. You know, whether or not he duped us, the Democrats didn't do enough to not get him elected.
No, you're 100% right.
Like, I mean, it was another double-edged sword. Like, I mean, what were we supposed to do?
I don't know, but whatever Candace did, she was right. So this is Candace on what's happening all with Trump and the Epstein files.
So what do you think is going on with the stringing along of the release of the Epstein files? I'm a bit disappointed, and I find it slightly alarming of the promises being made and the promises not being kept. I gave my take on this yesterday, Christina. If you go back and watch it in the comments, or I think we actually covered it, but we're never going to see it because too many powerful people are involved in it, and also it implicates Israel, and we never see any files that could potentially implicate Israel. That's my take on it. So put it out of your mind. It's never going to happen. Helda writes, deep down, we always knew that we were being lied to. Now we have access to everything, giving them no room for lies. You do an amazing job at making them look like clowns. Facts. Congratulations on 4 million. Yeah, and this is why they hate me. This is why someone as creepy and weird as EJ writes these sorts of articles, because now we have a way to get around the mainstream media, and I'm giving you the documents. You can go fact check this yourself. I don't consider myself to be an authority on this stuff. I consider you guys to be my colleagues, and we're all researching and we're learning together. And if we get something wrong, we can pivot and we can say, okay, that was wrong. We covered this last week. Here's how we can patch that and fix it. And
A black woman is speaking.
Something she would never be able to say if she still worked for the Daily Wire.
Oh, facts. 100% facts. But think about this, man. Think about the attacks that Candace has got, right? She won Anti-Semite of the Year, if you remember.
Yeah.
And she's been saying the truth. And yes, maybe she's gone a little bit too far sometimes, but so have we.
I mean, who hasn't gone too far? Hello, we've spent the last 3 Innocent Villains podcasts talking about Nick Fuentes, who's the epitome of taking things too far. Or saying the quiet part out loud. I mean, for however long, regardless of how you look at the media, there's a reason someone like Candace Owens isn't on mainstream television. There's a reason that someone like Nick Fuentes isn't on mainstream television. There's a reason that the media, even Fox News, I mean, CNN is never going to dive in hard on Israel like these guys do.
Well, neither Fox, CNN,
neither is Fox
MSNBC,
News.
anybody.
Neither is Fox News. So none of these mainstream media. So, I mean, to some point, yeah, Donald Trump, he's right where there is fake news and you know, half-assed reporting and all these things. But at the end of the day, when do we start critiquing Israel? When do we start diving in? When do we start looking at the facts? When do we start maybe you could be called a crazy conspiracy theorist, but put your fucking tinfoil hat on, Luke.
We've been criticizing Israel.
We've been criticizing Israel so much.
Everybody independent has been. Joe Rogan, the biggest podcast in the world, has criticized Israel.
Yep.
You saw that clip of him talking about bombing Gaza.
Eyes are opening, and I mean, quite frankly,
go off.
I mean, it's not even going to be really going off. I think we critiqued and or were skeptical when Elon Musk tweeted out that Donald Trump was on the Epstein list.
Right, and Trump didn't do the normal thing of going after Elon Musk's character. He didn't even address that.
Right.
Which was weird.
Right. Also, did you notice that there's a lot of people on the left, the Pelosi's and all of them, that haven't really said much about... I mean, I don't know if Pelosi did, but there's a lot of left-leaning politicians that have not... really even commented on
and
this.
It's interesting because they're all the moderate Democrats, the progressives like the AOCs and maybe even the Bernies. I think Bernie even touched on this. They're talking about it. But it's funny because the Democratic, not the Democratic Party, but the Democrats, right? People on the left in this country, the citizens, are so brainwashed.
Oh, yeah.
And you can see as soon as for lack of a better term, the Epstein thing was like our thing. That's like what the right wing cared about.
Yeah.
The left wing did not give a fuck about it until there was a slim chance that Donald Trump was implicated. Then you see the people like Kyle Kalinske, release the Epstein files. You see the progressive, release the Epstein files. The Democrat people that voted Democrat, release the Epstein files because we think Trump's on it, right? This guy that we're being brainwashed to hate.
Right.
And it's like...
How many previous Democratic presidents were on that list as well?
It's like, it's not even about that. The right cares about it specifically because Bill Clinton, Bill Gates, all these people, but also the fact that there's these kids, numerous kids, thousands maybe of kids, and this whole structure that has traditionally hated on the right and hated and been completely against morals and values and religion and stuff like that. And now potentially all these people that are against us are implicated in pedophilia and sex trafficking and all that. And then to go further, the victims. There were, like I said, hundreds, thousands of victims, kids that were exploited. We should know what happened
exactly
and who did this to these kids.
Exactly, regardless.
This island that's like almost out of a movie.
Yeah, I mean, no matter
the left just jumps on suddenly just because of Trump potentially being implicated. And it's like, no, you don't care about the broader issue. You don't care about the victims. You don't care about the whole world. We have been talking about this for how many years? How many years?
Since we started.
Since we started this podcast.
Since we started, we had a flag that said Epstein didn't kill himself.
Exactly. 2021, 2022. We've been talking about this for like 4 to 5 years, okay? And 3 to 4. And the fact that this whole thing, the whole structure that society looks like, right? The walls pulled over your eyes. It's a facade. You think Hollywood, you think the glitz, you think the glamour, you think these people are the best people. You see, they look great in pictures. They look great in the movies. We're told you should be like them. You should be this. You should care about how you look and all of this stuff, and everything is perfect until the cameras go off. Until the cameras go off and these people are being flown to a random island to fuck kids.
Yeah.
And it's like, no. Even the people that are making the laws, the uglier people that wish they were in Hollywood, but they became politicians. These people are doing the same thing.
Yep.
And it's like, we are the peasants. Do elections really matter? Do American elections really matter? Because think about it. What change has happened in the past 20 years, right? We're both 24 years old, okay?
Yeah, I mean, you don't see anything as an American citizen, I don't think.
We're young. We're young.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen change.
No.
But what has changed? Bush, obviously, I remember a little bit of Bush. But Obama, hope and change. Okay, and you got Obamacare. Gay marriage was passed. But really, like, what does that do to the average everyday American?
Nothing.
I mean, affordable care, wasn't that always a thing? You just put a name on it? Anyway, regardless, let's keep going. Trump 1.0, what did that do?
I think it
We have a wall.
Quite frankly, it separated politics. I wouldn't say it's separated.
No, but concrete. What did that do besides abort? Yeah, I'm talking about all concrete things that affect the American people's day to day. Besides a border wall that the migrants could just get around.
Cheapest gas prices. Prices were low.
Besides
prices
that,
were low. We got half a wall.
But they just went around the wall.
Yeah. We got half a wall. There's nothing that changes, dude.
Biden, okay? We heard anywhere from 10 to 20 million illegal immigrants got into this country, right? Okay, but what does that change, like, in my day to day? I don't see it, right?
Yeah, nothing changes in your day to day.
It's still my hometown that doesn't have any manufacturing jobs and that is decimated by automation and by jobs going overseas. Where did those come from? I thought that those jobs were supposed to come back, and I was told that they were going to come back, and they haven't come back, Shide. That's the problem.
Back in abundance.
And my country doesn't look good compared to China, compared to these other places. Even Tehran, Israel looks amazing compared to my country. In my country, the veterans don't have legs and they're forced to sleep on the streets. That's what's happening in my country. That's what's happening in your country. And yet they pitch every 4 years, things are going to change. No, vote for me. I'm going to give radical change. We were told mass deportations, okay? And now they're starting to roll that back. They're saying, oh, no, if you work in a hotel, you're an illegal immigrant, you could stay. If you're a farmer, you're an illegal immigrant, you could stay.
120 H-1B visas.
Right, that's the thing.
120,000.
Microsoft, how many Americans did they lay off? It was something like 4,000, and then they replaced it with H-1B. However many H-1B visas. Yep. And that's the problem. It feels like we're not really getting any change. Yes, if you're on the right and you're pro-life, the Roe v. Wade getting overturned, whatever, that happened, but then you still have the majority of abortions happening at the state level they're not rape, incest. It's just because it's as birth control. It's like 98%. I saw the percentage a couple of days ago. I saw the stat, and it's like, where are the wins here if you're on the right? Even if you're on the left, like, your life still sucks. It might be worse.
Yeah. Regardless, at the end of the day, that
was a stupid rant.
No, that was a really good rant. That was in the chamber, dude. I could tell that was in the chamber. What can I touch off of there? Truly, I agree with you on everything that you just said,
it just pisses me off.
Including how bad we look. We look terrible. Our big cities are overran with a homeless population of just absolutely wild humans. How many videos can you just see online now? The shooting in Philadelphia. Did you see that video?
Of course. It's becoming like school shootings almost were. I feel like school shootings don't happen as much now, but there was a time about, I'd say 2.5, 3 years ago, where the school shootings, it was like, another one. And like you started to become desensitized to it. Yeah. It's the same thing with migrant crime right now.
Yeah. And that's exactly the whole immigration thing to me, just it bugs me to my core, because you can't have your cake and eat it at the same time.
Right.
You can't tell me that you want mass deportations, but then say, hold up, if you're going to be a farmer, if you're going to be a worker, if you're going to do whatever, we're going to, be able, like, no, that is not how this is supposed to be. It is supposed to be legal citizens, people coming here legally. We should not, our taxpayer money should not be going to these people. However,
or their health care.
Exactly, and that's my other thing. You see mainstream media posting sob stories. I saw it yesterday of, an illegal migrant who's been here for 12 years and he's never once been, filed for his papers. He's been working, and God bless him. He's been working at a pizza shop or runs his own business or whatever. But let's think about this. If he's not an American citizen, he has no papers here. Is he paying taxes? He's not paying taxes. He's not going through the day-to-day. I will say, there's some things that as an American citizen you can, I guess, benefit from rather than being an illegal immigrant. But at the end of the day, the big one for me is taxes, man. My taxes should not be going. I should not be paying taxes, and someone else who's in here illegally, I should not be sucking up to him because he's been here for 12 years, not paying taxes, not benefit. He's not hurting. But how many of them are? You can't have your cake and eat it at the same time. We need mass deportations. We need a major reset. And then we need to figure out, okay, how can we, I guess, expedite? Maybe we can expedite the green card situation. Maybe we can expedite a way to get you here. But we also need to then do background checks. We need background checks into every single one of these people if we're going to expedite our visa process.
Yeah.
I mean, it needs to be a lot stricter than how an American citizen can get a firearm here.
Nick
I would
Fuentes
agree,
was
but,
talking about this. You remember that? It was one of the more recent episodes.
Vaguely.
And I believe the country he was talking about was Saudi Arabia. And from whatever country, people would come over from a nearby country to work. And it would be 1 year. It would be a work visa. It would be a 1 year period, and you could renew that 10 years max.
Yeah.
You could live in this country, but you had to live separate from the native people, right? You had to live in a community of the workers.
Yeah.
Not assimilate anything like that.
Right.
You don't get to take part in their culture, but you get to make the money here in Saudi Arabia, and then you can go back but you have to be gone. It's like that was the system. If we could have something like that, then I would be for it.
But we would never be able to have something like that because we live in such a woke time period that they would be calling it segregation. They would be calling it absolutely disgusting. Huh?
I wouldn't call it woke.
You don't think that's woke?
I would call it a little bit different. I don't know if you're talking about from the left's perspective.
The
right would attack it too. The right wouldn't like it because the right isn't.
I think it would split. I think it would split the right. I think there's certain people on the right side that would say yes, but at the end of the day, the only reason that we're sitting here saying it is okay to have illegal immigrants here to work is for cheap labor. That's the only reason.
And here's the thing.
And the jobs that the United States citizens won't want to do.
How about the I can't talk. Alligator. How about the alligator Alcatraz? What the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? I thought we were supposed to be balancing the budget, not spending billions of dollars potentially on a fucking prison for migrants surrounded by alligators in the middle of the Everglades. What?
How awesome is that, though?
It is.
It's pretty fucking awesome.
It's cool. I get it. But Tim Dillon mentioned this. He's like, when does it become that, like, Americans get sent there? Because right now it's migrants when Trump is the president, but what happens when President AOC comes?
I mean,
and you say something that's a little bit racist.
I mean, that's exactly what we're seeing with what was it? Was it two immigrants or maybe just one? Someone. It was an immigrant who was here legally, who was criticizing Israel,
correct,
and got deported.
And that's the thing. And that's what this is all about.
I'm sorry, I thought this was the land of the free, home of the brave.
No.
If you want to be anti-Semitic, be anti-Semitic. Listen, I'm going to be the first. I won't be the first to say it, but I'll say it on YouTube. There's reasons. There's reasons that people are talking about this. There's reasons that X is flooded with anti-Semitic comments. I mean, there's reasons that people are being critical of Israel. I'm sorry, CIA, don't fucking kill me, but let's not make it so goddamn obvious.
I don't even care.
Let's not have our fucking president bend over for Bibi Netanyahu and call him the fucking greatest man to live.
We have that. We'll pull that up.
It's just disgusting. It's disgusting. And then you have Bibi Netanyahu. We're totally going off topic here, but then you have Bibi Netanyahu saying that Donald Trump should win the Nobel Peace Prize. The Nobel Peace Prize. You want to know why? It's because he got Donald Trump to do something that presidents for the last 30 years would not do, which is bomb Iran. And you want to know why Donald Trump bombed Iran? It could be because they have dirt on him. It could be that he's on Jeffrey Epstein's list and all this shit. Regardless, Bibi Netanyahu bombed Iran, and Donald Trump told Bibi, do not bomb Iran. And then you get this flip of script where it's, I knew it was happening all along. I knew it was happening. I knew it was happening. I knew everything. I knew everything. I knew it was happening. So he comes in there, Bibi backs us into a corner, and Donald Trump has to get us out.
And now Trump is saying that Bibi Netanyahu is the greatest man in the world. We'll play that video for you. Here we go.
Do you think that there can be a two-state solution that creates an independent?
I don't know. I'd ask Bibi that question. You have the greatest man in the world to answer that age-old question, two-state. Go ahead. You give him your honest answer.
I think Palestinians should have all the powers to govern themselves, but none of the powers to threaten us. And that means that certain powers, like overall security, will always remain in our hands.
Enough of this bullshit. He said, you have the greatest man in the world to answer that question. The greatest man in the world. Ryan Scheidmantel, once again, I've said this before, I'll say it again. That's our real president. That's our real president. Bibi Netanyahu is our real president. He came to the United States for a third time this year. Not one, not two, not three. Israel's our greatest ally, Shad. So tell me then, what did they do for us?
They don't do a goddamn thing.
I can't tell you a thing that they do for us. I've seen anywhere from 12 to $17.8 billion just this year, and it's almost it's not even halfway. It's basically just halfway over. We've sent to them in weapons. $3.3 billion annually we send to them every year without the war, right? Without October 7th. This year, it's anywhere from 12 to 17.8 billion. And you know what it's all for? It's not for food. It's not for economic relief.
Absolutely not.
Oh, it's all weapons. We got Nikki Haley and Nancy Mace signing missiles saying kill them all, autographing it. Lindsey Graham is ecstatic to see all of these weapons just being, I don't even have a good word, just bombing Gaza, just nuking Iran. They want to nuke Iran. They want to do it. Why? Because these people have never served in the military. They've never encountered what it's really like to be at war. Now, I've never been at war, but I can imagine that if I was at war and I was serving with people in the Army, the Navy, any of the special forces, that I wouldn't be so war hungry, so chicken hawkish. A chicken hawk is, I've actually learned this term recently on Theo Vaughn. A chicken hawk is a politician that's so excited to go to war, even though this politician has never been to war, so they don't know what it's like.
Exactly.
These things benefit these people financially, whether that's Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, etc., all these weapons companies. And they're just glorified to kill. They're just excited to kill. Lindsey Graham's a fat lesbian. He's 75 years old, and he doesn't have any kids. He's still in the closet. He's gay. We know it. He's a faggot. We get it.
Was he on the island?
No.
They wouldn't invite him.
He would
They
have
wouldn't
been
invite him.
He would have been so happy. I love going to his island. They had so many little boys for me there.
Jeffrey Epstein was my favorite.
He was
loved him.
He was a good man.
God, I hate Lindsey Graham, dude. I hate
he's a
Lindsey Graham.
fat lesbian.
Never forget when, what was it, North Carolina?
Yes.
Was hit with all those floods.
yes.
All those floods. And that fuck said, but look at the Ukraine. We need to be sending more to the Ukraine. What in the fuck, Lindsey Graham? What in the actual fuck?
How much do you hate
Those are the
him?
fucking people. So much, dude. And those are the fucking people that we put on Fox News. I can't stand Fox News. Luke, I watched Donald Trump's speech in Iowa, okay? They had the Department of Agriculture head there. Don't know her name. Don't care. They talked to her like she was retarded. The Fox News anchors are sitting there saying, it was on a Fox News episode. It was on Fox News, I think. I don't even remember where it was at. No, that's not it. But anyways, it doesn't matter. Yeah.
I know what we're talking about.
Yeah, regardless. Back to Fox News. I can't stand to watch Fox News anymore. I don't know how you are with it. Yeah, Greg Gutfeld's kind of a comedy relief there, but anybody like The Five, I could give a fuck less. Jesse Waters, I could give a fuck less. Like
I kind of like Jesse Waters, but I don't watch it either now.
It all just kind of seems like Entertainment Tonight, dude. I need some sort of I need to be talked to like I'm an actual human being. I don't need to be force fed these stupid reiterations. How much time did we spend covering the fucking goddamn Hunter Biden laptop? How much time did we spend covering Hunter Biden and just hammering down on Hunter Biden?
Dude,
yeah, I think it was fucked up, dude. I don't know. At the end of the day, we critiqued Joe Biden in such like a comedic way on Fox News that it just seems so fake. And you see Tucker Carlson leaving Fox News.
No, he got fired. He wouldn't have left.
Right. Well, Alex Jones says he got fired. But you see him now. All of a sudden, he's off mainstream media. What is he doing? Starting to critique Israel.
Yeah.
He's having the president of Iran on. He's interviewed Vladimir Putin.
How'd you feel about that?
Dude, I mean...
The interview with the Iran president.
Here's the thing. I've never met the guy.
Right.
I always have some sort of distrust talking with someone that is using a translator.
Right, and the translator wasn't great.
He wasn't great. It was a miserable episode to listen to. I only got about halfway through it. However, key takeaway that I got from it was hammering down on the Iranian president saying, we were not working towards nukes. We've never been working towards nukes. It's against our religion.
Yes.
Yada, yada, yada. And does that not exactly tie into what we've been sitting here saying, that there's a reason that Israel has wanted to bomb Iran for 30 years?
And maybe I don't have to take the Iranian president at face value, but he did continue to say, we want nothing but peace and tranquility. Now, maybe it was the translator, but that doesn't sound like somebody that wants to go to war.
No.
And he pointed out, for the fact, not to touch your wrist like that,
that's all right.
but he pointed out, he's like, we haven't attacked a country in over 200 years. Why would we want to do that now?
Yeah.
And then he talked about peace and tranquility again.
I mean, is it peace and tranquility when you're burning the American flag and screaming death to America?
Well,
no.
But also, too, damn it, I did it again.
It's all
But
right.
also, too, what he said when Tucker was like, Tucker asks the Iranian president, he goes, why do you say death to America? Do you understand that maybe American citizens will be fearful of you? And he goes, we don't mean that towards the people. We mean it towards the power structure, to the government, to the group of people, the cabal that has villainized us for the past 25 years as Muslims. And it's like, oh,
that makes more sense.
Right. And he reiterated, he goes, we do not mean anything but peace and tranquility.
Oh, Luke, have we not had a stand-up president since JFK?
Yeah, we haven't. You know that.
Fuck.
You know that. You know
And was
that.
JFK killed by Israel?
Okay, well, this thing is, JFK was investigating Israel's nuclear weapons program.
No.
He wanted them to be regulated. Do you know what they did? They created a fake nuclear weapons program, and then they made a wall, and behind the wall was the actual nuclear weapons program.
Oh, I'm starting to think we are very corrupt over here, Luke. Oh.
And so then what happens is that they were only getting like economic relief and economic aid then. And so fast forward a couple years, JFK is in Dallas. He's in a parade, and he gets headshotted right in front of everybody.
But that guy.
Right, that guy. Lee Harvey Oswald,
Yeah,
okay?
that guy.
So what was he about to do? He was about to say why he killed JFK. And then this guy, Jack Ruby, comes out of the crowd. Random guy, Jack Ruby, right? Jack Ruby kills Lee Harvey Oswald, who killed JFK. But we never knew that Jack Ruby's real name until recently. Jack Ruby's real name is Jack Rubenstein. And I don't know what ethnicity that would be, but it doesn't sound like it's Irish Catholic.
No, I don't think so.
It doesn't sound Italian.
No.
Not Polish.
No.
What
German, for sure.
Oh, yeah, German. It's definitely not, I don't know. Is it? It's definitely not black.
No.
I wonder what it could be.
We'll let the viewers decide
let's
that
leave
one.
it up to the comments.
Dude,
Yes, JFK was killed by Israel or the Mossad at best. Or at the least, he was killed by Mossad.
Yeah.
And it just makes sense. Like if you're that guy, everybody loved him, the press loved him. Of course Republicans probably hated him at the time, in Texas especially, but because of the segregation stuff, and he was pro, civil rights and anti-segregation, whatever. But that guy was the last guy with a pair of balls, man. He was the last guy that probably wasn't controlled by a lobby.
Yeah, 100%. And then if you really just take that at face value, and then I mean, are we the best country in the world, Luke?
What are the parameters?
I think we're the best country in the world when it comes to freedom of speech. We have the right to bear arms.
Yeah, we got better at freedom of speech recently.
We have quite a lot of freedom.
And we also have the best place for you to become successful.
Agreed.
This is the place to do it.
However, why is it then that all the places that are ran by a communist dictatorship all have really nice cities?
Well, I can tell you why.
Don't have the crime rates that we have.
Again, I can tell you why. How far do you want to go?
I mean, I know the answer to all of this. I'm just saying, like,
It's rhetorical. Well, because these places, Shide, they have rules.
Yeah, rules.
And that's really what it comes down to. For some reason, not some reason, in our society, we don't follow the rules. Some people do.
And you get rewarded for not following the rules.
Right. I mean, if you stole anything less than $900 in California, they would just let you out.
Isn't that nuts?
They would just let you out.
Isn't that fucking
That's
nuts?
a very profitable business.
That's a great business, dude.
It's a
I
great
should go to
business model.
California, be stealing everything under $900, reselling it, and I mean that's how I would make my business. So that's what you mean by this is the best place to be an entrepreneur.
I mean, but think about it. Even the people, the higher ups, they don't follow the rules. Say what you want about Trump, you could like him, but let's be honest, he's a little bit shady. He ran that giant crypto scam, and now he's worth like $6 billion. Before the election, he was worth $1.5 billion. That's not following the rules.
Not only that,
that's not following the rules at all.
How many presidents do you see that are continuously grifting like this? Trump has grifted from day one. He continues, like you said. He had the coin issue. Now I think I read something that he was going to start up another one.
Maybe.
And now he wants to get in with fragrances. And he just continues to be making. I don't know. I just feel like.
But it's just my point is like the people in power, not just Trump, but Pelosi. We talk about her stock trading.
Oh, yeah.
And she's one of the politicians that's making all the rules. Yet she's not following the rules for everybody else.
Yeah.
And you talk about the elites. Why are people that are these billionaires, right, the Adelsons, why do they have dual citizenship and they're able to lobby on behalf of a foreign country? Why are they able to lobby on behalf of Israel and take advantage of we have over here to enrich their country? So if the people at the top and the people that are making the rules aren't following the rules, then why should you expect the people that they're ruling over to follow the rules?
Exactly.
It's a whole thing. And so to kind of close this little topic off of elections not mattering, I don't know if they do. I don't know if we're ever going to have nice cities again because we don't have people that follow rules. And nowadays rules are associated with right-wing fascism. And I mean, you see these dictatorships overseas. You see China, we call it a dictatorship, and it's like a loose dictatorship. And you go to you see these Middle Eastern cities like Tehran, for example, and at least what we saw a couple weeks ago, right? It looks really good, looks clean. And even when Tucker went over to Russia, dude, he was looking at the subway and it's clean. I've been to New York subway. It doesn't look like that.
No.
It looks like shit.
No.
There's crime and it's dirty and there's rats and there's homeless people and it's loud and it's really, really shady. In Russia, it was like the train station was lit up. It was clean. You could practically lick off the floor. At least that's what it looked like.
Yeah.
And it just makes me wonder, man, is this propaganda? But as you see more and more videos, you just think, the cities in my country don't look like that.
No.
New York is great, but it doesn't look like that.
There's not a big city in the United States that is clean, that is crime free.
No.
That is a place that you look at and you go, damn, I'm proud. Yeah, if you're standing in Times Square and you look up at all the beautiful lit up billboards and all the signs and storefronts, looks pretty good. If you look at the sidewalk, if you start walking around,
yeah.
Like, it's just ridiculous.
We're just very dumb, too, and I don't understand. Here's another rant that I did have inside of me, bro. Our country, the only reason that we still consider ourselves the greatest country in the world, or that other people may consider us the greatest country in the world, is because right now the U.S. reputation has been built off the backs of generations before us, like before the boomers, that were much better than us.
100%.
Much better. The only reason why we can even remotely consider ourselves the greatest country in the world now is because of people that have died, that have already been in the past, and they've contributed to this country, and now we're living in the ruins of what they built.
Exactly.
If you took away the greatest generations before us and
the hard workers,
right, the people that actually built this country with their hands, the manual laborers, the steel workers, the auto workers, everybody that contributed to this country's infrastructure. Think about it. This is my prediction. I don't think if we were starting from scratch today, we would be able to build freeways and all of the road systems that we have.
We wouldn't.
We don't have the people. We don't have the infrastructure to be able to do it.
No.
We don't have the workforce. We don't have the technology. We don't have the brains to be able to do it. We don't have any of that. We are living right now on the backs of people that were much better than us.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to start to see as the boomers die out, like we have some really dumb people in leadership. I mean, you talk about Zoran Mamdani, and I don't want to talk about him too much, but it's like this guy, I don't think he gets it. I think he gets the struggle, but I don't think he understands how things work.
No.
And you see more people, leaders of these cities, right? Of course, they're all Democrat. Miami's a Republican, actually. But it just doesn't make sense. Like, things don't look good. I don't think we're going in a good direction.
No, not
I
at
don't
all.
think we're going in a good direction at all. And I'm sorry to be so doom and gloom, but when you look at China and you look at Japan and you look at the infrastructure and you look at the high-speed rails, that's another thing. Don't mean to hit you. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
This country could benefit so much from a high-speed rail. Think about that. Okay, every major city in the States, right? So you have New York, you have Los Angeles, you have Chicago, Midwest, for example, Chicago, Indiana, Cleveland, or Indianapolis, Cleveland, you go Cincinnati, you go Pittsburgh, stuff like that, Philadelphia. All these major cities, if they had a high-speed rail that could get you to New York, from New York to California in a matter of a couple hours, like a bullet train, imagine what that would do to this economy. People, it's expensive to fly places. It's expensive to do everything. If you could get from New York to Miami in a couple of hours on a train for maybe $100, I feel like, or even if it was free, imagine if it was free. Think about what that would do for people. Think about what that would do for jobs. People, you could live on the East Coast and potentially have a job on the West Coast. I mean, I don't think this sounds dumb.
It doesn't.
This is something that, and I don't know if it would necessarily be as quick as that, like LA to New York in a couple of hours.
It'd probably be like a day or whatever. I don't know how fast a bullet train goes.
But
exactly.
nevertheless, think about the economic opportunity.
Yeah.
Think about what that could do to stimulate the economy. Yes, it would be very expensive, but there has to be a way to get this done. Think
well,
about
we
how
could have
cool
with the $5 trillion debt that we just went into with the fucking big, beautiful bill.
Think about how cool it would be to connect somebody in Oklahoma to New York in a matter of hours.
Yeah, it would
or
be sweet.
Montana
It
to
would
New
be
York. And for the countries that don't have the bigger populations like the New York, the California, one central city that they could all drive to get to these places.
Yeah.
But like family vacation, we don't have to drive. We don't have to waste gas. We don't have to pay money for a hotel. We don't have to fly, pay these ridiculous airfares and deal with all the shit. Oh, maybe my plane crashes today. You know, all that stuff. If we had a high-speed rail, a universal high-speed rail for the whole country that could potentially be free. I mean, I don't know. You see these things working with public transportation is free in a lot of cities.
Yeah.
So maybe we would be able to have this at a national scale. But this is just something I've been thinking about, man. That's true innovation. That's true infrastructure. Elon was talking about that in California, and it never went through. But like something like that, like we don't have any innovation in this country, and it pisses me off because we're supposed to be the greatest country in the world. I'm sorry, I'm hogging all the time here, but it's just so fucking frustrating.
I mean, I 100% understand you, but we're too busy paying Israel money. We're too busy sending weapons to the Ukraine. We're too busy being everyone else's daddy, and everyone else around us seems to be the ones that are thriving from it.
Tel Aviv looks beautiful.
They're all the ones that have beautiful cities and all these different amenities. We just talked about China and how beautiful it looked. The drone fireworks they were doing. I mean, it's ran by a communist dictatorship, but.
And if you speak about it out about the government, then they will probably put you in jail.
I mean,
they'll disappear
we're not too far off, Luke.
Which is true.
We're not too far off here.
Which is true. You say something bad about Israel, you're a legal immigrant, or you're just a visa worker for say that they'll ship you off.
Yeah, and that's right now. What about what happens to the people that criticize Israel in 20 years? What about what happens when they go back and see my rant that I had 20 minutes ago?
Here's an idea. Think about this. So we can agree that the baby boomers are like the worst generation of people.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Support for Israel among boomers is the highest. After, I feel like Gen X is kind of like even keel, but millennials and Gen Z, the millennials are like the progressives, but Gen Z is like, we're like the right-wing fascists.
Very much so. critical. I mean,
Right.
very much so eye-opening.
But even though we're both like the millennials and Gen Z are like opposites in terms of like the political spectrum, we both really don't like Israel.
Yeah.
So it's only a matter of time before Israel falls out of public opinion with the United States.
I think it's only a matter of time before people start actually waking up and realizing that our cities, our infrastructure, our ingenuity that we have here. I mean, we have, like you said, we have no new innovation. There's no new innovation that's coming out of the United States to benefit United States citizens.
And nobody, if you're a political pundit,
That's a man spread if I've ever seen one, brother. That is a man fucking spread.
I'm trying to readjust myself here without getting a cramp. But like, no politician is promising innovation. You saw that when Biden was talking about the CHIPS Act, okay? But like, that's something that didn't get a lot of coverage because he wasn't talking about it. He was talking about Trump every day. He was
Yeah.
talking about domestic terrorists every
Yeah.
day. And on top of that, he had all of these gaffes that were showing that like he really shouldn't be there. I would like a politician. I would like a presidential candidate, somebody that wants to just lie to me about the future. Lie to me about how good it could be. Just lie to me. Lie to me like Zoran Mamdani.
Lie to me and tell me that fucking state-owned grocery stores are a good idea.
But beyond, exactly.
Give me a good PowerPoint. Give me a fucking Venn diagram.
What do you think about him?
Of Zoran?
Yeah, tell me, because we haven't talked about this.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about him. Honestly, because I don't live in New York, I don't care that much, which I'm taking the Matt Walsh approach when it comes to Israel. I'm kind of just, I'm obviously against him because he's just an insane left-wing Democrat. However,
and he's racist.
It's New York, dude. What did we expect? I mean, do I really think that I think his answer at that debate was pretty baller, that he said he wasn't going to go to Israel because
Yes.
he cares about the Jews in New York, but he doesn't give a fuck about Israel. That was pretty cool. But I mean, also at the end of the day, I just think he's going to continue to run New York into the ground. I think New York is just going to be a haven for illegal migrants and all hell to break loose. I think in a couple of years, New York is going to be someplace that's basically not off limits to citizens, but people that are you're not going to have a drive to go to New York.
I'm going there. I'm going there in early November.
Which part?
The city.
Really?
But
for now, I mean,
he won't be mayor by then.
For now, I'm talking years down the line. I'm just saying,
I want her to be able to experience it because she's never been there.
Yeah,
and I want her to be able to experience the magic.
Yeah, that's
but okay,
perfect.
You think about it, right? Mondami's talking about freezing the rent, and it's like, okay, I hear you. How's that going to work?
It doesn't. And that's like you had said. We don't have any politician that's going to lie to us about innovation. It's going to lie to us about making things better for, I guess, making things look better. Every politician that we hear and talk about, I mean, we all watched the presidential debates. Not a single question was, how are you going to innovate the United States? It was, we're going to get rid of income tax. We're no tax on overtime, no tax on tips. All things to put money in our pockets, yes, but how far does that money go if when we walk outside of our door, it's disgusting.
And I don't agree with what Mondami wants to do in terms of like his actions and his policies. However, I think he's speaking to a populist perspective, and I think
100%.
I think that's why it's so popular, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Because like he's speaking to people's struggles, and I don't agree with how he wants to do it, but he's still promising a solution.
Yeah, and that's what every single every politician is doing.
No, I disagree. I don't think they are. I think they're caught up in their shit. They're caught up in Israel, Palestine, or not even Palestine. They're just caught up in serving the Zionist lobby. And
in what way? Because I was basically what I was trying to say was every politician is still, no matter what, the way they get into office is to promise to make the citizens' lives better.
Right, but I don't see any politicians besides him talking about the day-to-day, resonating with the paycheck-to-paycheck people, promising like actual concrete solutions.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
You're right.
Because Trump was promising, oh, well, basically, we're going to do these corporate tax cuts and it's going to trickle down. But that wasn't like a concrete thing. You know what I mean?
I think at the end of the day, when you really look inside of each campaign, I think Trump had a cakewalk to the presidency, dude. I mean,
in hindsight,
he could, in hindsight, he could have went up there and honestly, he could have told me that Israel was his number one, and I still would have probably voted for him.
We shilled hard for him in the election,
very much. So.
How did we not see this?
But how did we not shill hard for him, dude? I mean, listen.
How did we not see that? Like, he was so controlled by the Israel lobby. Were we even like aware?
I don't think we were aware. I don't think our eyes have been opened until right now. I mean, but again, I go back to, we live in a two-party situation where it's either Republican or Democrat. You can vote independent all you want, but I'll stand on business when I say that you're just throwing your vote away, dude. There's no, I mean, for now, until Elon launches the American Party. However,
I'm not a fan.
No, me neither, dude.
I don't know what are you doing?
He needs to stay the fuck
How do
out
you
of
feel
politics,
about
dude.
that?
Let me finish this part.
Okay.
Republican, Democrat, that is who we have. Have we ever had an independent president?
Yeah.
Well, no. I sorry.
They weren't independent. They were the Federalists, I believe.
Sorry. Let me rephrase that. In this era, yeah, I was trying to go by years, but in this era, no. It's been Republican, Democrat, Republican, Democrat, Republican, Democrat, Democrat, right. Republican, whatever the fuck you want to say. So, at the end of the day, when you have these two parties, you have a cakewalk decision where it is, we were in a shit time. Borders were terrible. Prices were high. Day-to-day life was miserable. Guess what? We're past 100 days. Day-to-day life is still miserable under Trump.
It feels the same to me.
It's the exact same. Yeah, we might have some record low gas prices from where we were. 4th of July fucking prices or gas prices are at an all-time low for now. In this current situation. However, you take that and you say, okay, well you run a candidate who didn't get nominated. Nobody voted for her. She does not want to separate herself from any of Joe Biden's policies. She was rated the worst vice president in history. We continue to go down the line of problems. Then, of course, we're just going to say, yeah, it either makes more sense to not vote or vote for Donald Trump. That's why we saw such a big curve, dude. Nobody was happy. So regardless of whether or not we saw the Israel lobby coming or we saw how Donald Trump was with Epstein, we saw these things that we're all now critiquing. You had to vote for him.
You're right. In hindsight, he was bound to beat Kamala Harris.
It was,
and she was being poised as somebody that, in the moment, everybody thought that she could win. But looking back on it now, it's like there was no way that she was going to win.
There was not a shot.
She lost Michigan,
yeah,
Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania,
yeah,
and Arizona, and Georgia, and she lost all the swing states. Every single swing state she lost. And so at the time, it was a big surprise because she was getting propped up by what we thought were all of these rich donors. But in reality, Elon Musk donated $200 million alone to Trump. Zuckerberg was supporting him. Zuckerberg, big tech Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
Peter Thiel, the PayPal Mafia guy, was supporting Trump. Mark Andreessen, another Silicon Valley guy, billionaire, was supporting Trump. And then when you realize all the people with the money, the Adelson family gave him $100 million. And it's like, oh, like I just named you right there, a couple people that gave him, at least if they didn't support him, gave him millions, hundreds of millions of dollars in some circumstances.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, if all the money was behind him, but it didn't feel like he was the establishment candidate, then were we fooled?
Yeah, that's what we've been saying from the beginning of the episode, dude. We were fooled.
More so as like a rhetorical question. I don't need to ask that.
Yeah, I know. But also,
she was bound to lose. Like you're saying, she was bound to lose.
Were we fooled?
Because we thought it was going to be different. And now it's worse.
Yes, we were fooled. simply because all of this is coming out. We're able to critique him very hard. Honestly, we're able to kind of critique him harder than we were able to critique Joe Biden.
Yeah,
In
because
certain
Joe Biden had the
instances.
excuse that he was old, senile, and not in control of his actions.
Exactly. And now, someone who is overtly in control of his actions and everything that he says and doesn't stutter when he speaks and speaks pretty damn clearly by saying that Bibi Netanyahu is the greatest man alive.
This hurts, man.
Dude, it really makes you...
This hurts.
It makes you just seethe. Because, quite frankly, I don't know who I'm more upset at. I don't know if I'm more upset at us for shilling this hard, or I don't know if I'm more upset with the Democratic Party, who obviously hated Trump, who would have released the Epstein files if he was in it, who tried their damnedest to make sure he did not get elected.
I mean,
Why did they not do better? That is my question. Why did we ride the coattails of an absolutely incognitive Joe Biden? Why did we sit here and pretend like everything was hunky-dory? Why did we do all these things just to run a candidate who fucking sucked?
you and I weren't pretending, that's for sure.
No.
I don't know. I don't know why, because they didn't have any options.
Right.
I mean, let's go back, okay? We're kind of playing Monday morning quarterback here, and we're kind of doing revisionist history, but like, let's not forget he did get shot and attempted twice. They attempted to kill him, so he had that momentum. He was riding that momentum. When you look back, it's pretty hard to imagine she was gonna win, but it felt like she could definitely win back then. I don't know, man. I mean, we grew up with Trump. I paid attention to politics the whole time, his whole era, but I paid attention to politics prior to him getting in the political ring. It's just sad, because when you look at Trumpism, I mean, obviously he's got 3.5 more years left. He could definitely right the wrongs for sure. But when you look at Trumpism, it hasn't resulted in any real concrete change in Americans' day-to-day lives, I think. But in terms of the mindset, it's the movement definitely changed everybody forever.
Yeah, I would agree.
I just wish he did more. His policies did
speaking
more.
to that point, however, I hate to admit it, we were naive.
Of course.
Through Trump phase 1, we paid attention to politics, but how in depth?
Well, first off, you and I couldn't vote in that first election, 2016.
No, but did we pay attention to the ins and outs of the politics, or did we just pay attention to what we wanted Fox News to tell us?
We paid attention to what we saw on Twitter, and we paid attention to what we saw on Fox News.
Twitter.
Right, old Twitter. That is true. Old Twitter, pre Elon Musk. The Jack Dorsey on one. That's true too. That's true too.
I think regardless, we're living in a time where it is so fucking hard to figure out what is truth and what is not, because even if you go on X right now, I'm not sitting here telling you that is the end all be all to where you need to figure out your political stance. However, there's a lot of bots, dude. There's a lot of fucking scumbags. There's a lot of bots. There's a lot of people that are just saying things to get people riled up.
I mean, it got me riled up. I saw something the other day where it was like a cure to gay.
Ooh.
Oh, they're saying ivermectin could do it.
Really? Well, Pope Leo will be all over that one. I don't know. Like, we could sit here and we can go in circles the rest of the night, or we can get back to the slate. I mean, truthfully,
I'm just sad.
There's a way that everything is going to crumble in our generation. Did you see that the highest IQ holder, he's a Chinese guy, I believe, said that he believes in God.
Yeah, well, I'll pull that up right now. Continue.
Well, yeah, so he believes in God, and I think he said that in this generation he believes that Jesus Christ will come back. I could be wrong exactly on what he had said, but to that point, I think that we are going to see something crumble and something give as the boomers go out, as these news stations kind of unravel, as everything happens. It's going to be a slow pace. However, when we are 60 years old, when our generation is the one that is questioning everything, where does that leave us? If we finally get a president in there that is critical of Israel, is that when we get nuked? Is that when things change?
I don't know.
Are we going to, I mean, is that when aliens show up? What the fuck is going to happen? Speaking of aliens and all this shit.
Talk about this. So you sent me this video.
This one?
Yes.
So this has nothing to do with aliens, but I was basically going to say that I have been projecting on Twitter quite a lot, actually. I'm a little bit more active on there now, so follow me on Twitter. However, I predict that something big is going to happen because we are going to need a switch to get off of this Epstein train. Obviously, you and I are sitting here. We're not even on the Epstein topic anymore, but there's a lot of things that are being critiqued right now. Every time Netanyahu comes to the U.S., there is a big Israeli critique. Israeli critique's probably at the highest it's ever been. Number one. Number two, we have something that is really putting a bad taste in everybody's mouth with Donald Trump. We have this Epstein case. We have
the tariffs.
Tariffs that we aren't actually seeing any sort of good for the American citizen yet. I mean, nothing but fucking price increases right now. So
Canada hates us.
We'll see what the fuck happens. But is this now when we get into the Project Bluebeam where they fucking... do you know anything about that?
I've only heard the name.
Project Bluebeam is basically they're going to, and this is far off the tinfoil hat, but
say it.
So Project Bluebeam is basically people are it would basically just be a big, I don't even know what the word I'm looking for, a projection in the air, which would be a UFO or something like that, where it would cause mass hysteria. I think we're going to find, I don't know if that's when they put Project Bluebeam into fruition. I don't know if this is when we get another 9/11 attack, but quite frankly, I don't feel safe in the U.S. anymore. I don't know about you. I feel like my head's kind of always on a swivel, regardless on if I'm worried about a big terror attack or a shooting or whatever. I mean, I feel like I'm at a point where I'm questioning every single person I come into contact with.
Where would we go?
Where would who go?
If not for here.
What do you mean?
The United States.
Oh, I mean nowhere. I'm not Switzerland. I don't fucking know. Like I mean, I love the U.S. I'm just simply saying that I feel like everybody in the U.S. needs to be on their heels a little or on their toes a little bit. You know.
Here's what I will say. So you're talking about all of the stuff, all of the people waking up to Israel, right? And Israel, as the boomers die, they're going to have less support, and they can't have that. So you're saying that they'll false flag something to get us to support them and to get the population to support the United States going to war for Israel, correct? Is that what you're saying?
I don't even know if it would be going to war for Israel. I don't know if that's what it would be. I think it would just basically...
What are you saying? How about that?
So what I'm trying to say is I think in the future, I don't think it's good enough right now. The Project Bluebeam thing would kind of be like there's a UFO in the sky that's created and it causes mass hysteria,
or like
and the only
being,
way, or yes, or
like a projection of an alien,
something. I mean, so there's that, or there's the false flag. I don't think it's necessarily us going to war. I think it would be a one world government kind of situation where you would see United States citizens, instead of being able to critique all these things, be so fucking scared that they are just listening to the government. They're just listening to what these people say. You need to, you need to stop working, or you need to only work here, or you need to do this, you need to do that. They're telling you what to do. The government is telling you how much money you're going to make. Everyone makes a certain amount of money. Exactly.
You might be tapping into something here. This is what Alex Jones has been talking about for a while.
It's the globalists. I mean,
right, the globalists, and I think Elon Musk has something to play as well with the Neuralink.
I do too. I mean, that's why I'm afraid of the American Party, and I think he's grabbing onto anything to kind of lift him up, and that's exactly my point. I mean,
you're right.
You have a false flag, you have a UFO fucking thing. If you have your tinfoil hat on, you have whatever false flag or mass hysteria and panic that we've never been in. We've never gotten an alert that a nuclear weapon is headed our way. We've never once seen a projection of a UFO. All you've seen is 3 Muslim dudes praying behind a Meijer gas station that scared you.
Imagine. I mean, okay, to be fair, There was there was a lightning storm, and I was at the store. I wanted dessert. I wanted ice cream, so I went at 10 p.m. at night, and it was dark, and there was a lightning storm. And on the way to the grocery store, there was a gas station in front of the grocery store, and right by the utility door in the back, there were these 3 Muslims jumping up and down, praying to Mecca, right towards the lightning storm. I was a little freaked out. They did it in a little triangle. I thought, oh, maybe the two people are right behind the general manager of the gas station. He's locking up there, and then they go on the knees and they're doing this shit, and it freaked me out.
Exactly. I mean, and you saw what mass hysteria could do to the U.S. population or the global population when it comes to COVID. I mean, COVID hit and we didn't have any toilet paper.
Let's go down the rabbit hole.
And that's just a sickness, dude. Imagine it was a UFO being projected into the air, or imagine it was a nuclear threat or anything that would legitimately cause hysteria. We could sit here and talk about it calmly. However, I would say 99% of the U.S. population would be shitting their pants if there was some sort of false flag big enough for us to be so scared that we give up all of our rights and give up everything that we stand for, and we listen to whoever. We would do it because we want to survive. At the end of the day, it's the fight or flight. And I'm sorry, I don't think if you were to project a UFO or a nuclear missile or an invasion, any of those false flags, I don't think that. Yeah, there might be some guys in fucking Montana or Texas that have ARs, but they're not gonna. Yeah, Ohio for sure. They're not gonna say, oh, I think my AR could kill a spaceship full of aliens, or whatever the fuck. Or it's not going to protect against a nuclear missile. It's not going to protect against XYZ. There is a point where there's no return for mass hysteria. You can false flag something hard enough to make everyone crumble and everyone, I guess, suck up. And maybe it's to the point where it's, I don't know what you would be able to pitch or do to get everyone to have like the Neuralink implant, but there's definitely a way that you can start controlling citizens. And I think, quite frankly, most of us are already being controlled. The day-to-day lifestyle of a 9-to-5 job. You're being told when to take your PTO. You're being told when to take your lunch break. If you're not back after 30 minutes, you get yelled at. I mean, there is control over us regardless. And that's just in the small sense, dude. That's just stuff that we've conformed to. And that's coming down from the boomer generation and not even before then. I mean, that's coming from something we have just, that's how you make your money. That's how you survive. You have to go into the workforce. You have to do this, and you have to play by these rules and listen to your bosses. And at the end of the day, your bosses are being paid by a big, giant corporation that's worth billions of dollars that they don't give a fuck because we're just peasants. I don't even know where that rant went, dude. I don't even know where I started. I don't know where I ended.
You're touching on something that's really interesting.
Which part?
Well, you talked about the 9-to-5, and you're talking about social conformity. Mm-hmm. Think about everybody that's went against social conformity, right? So, for example, the 9-to-5 stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't want a 9-to-5. You don't want to have to live paycheck to paycheck. You start your own business. Initially, you struggle, but then 10 years later, compared to somebody that you were in high school with, for example, that went to college, got the 9-to-5. Yes, they might be doing well. But chances are, if you poured your life into this, if you worked your butt off, you started your own business, you're going to be 1,000 times ahead of them. If not for the money, then for the peace of mind, knowing that you don't live paycheck to paycheck. And you're able to create your own schedule and stuff like that. So you're rewarded if you truly do work your butt off and you go against the grain.
Yeah.
What did we learn from the COVID stuff? If you got the jab, then it was unknown, but everybody, the social group was telling you, get it. The pressure was on you, just like the pressure is to go to college and get the 9-to-5.
Exactly. And not to mention, we saw it exactly when it relates to COVID, that if you don't get the jab, you don't get to go on airplanes. You don't get to go into grocery stores. You don't get to go XYZ.
Yep.
Well, then it probably starts with, it's a lot more, I mean, and this is out there, here, but so how easy is it for you to do touch pay on your phone?
Very
easy. So how easy would it be if you just put your fingerprint into there,
It
and
would
you had
be
the Neuralink,
awfully convenient.
It would be awfully convenient. I mean, I think the problem is, and we touched on this earlier, where the hard workers, the really, really hard workers, the steel workers, the automotive workers, all those people, those people we work hard and we die. Like, that was their mantra. We work hard, we have a white picket fence, a wife we cheat on and we beat, and we have some kids that are really just fucking feral animals, and then that we let go outside and we just say, get out of here, and they're out there for 12 hours and they have the best fucking, like, our generation, we can't send our kids outside unsupervised in certain areas. Like, I couldn't imagine for 12 hours. My child, right now in this current state of the world.
No, and I don't think they were doing that.
Right. So let me backtrack this then again. So we talk about the boomers, the hard workers, all these people, the laborers. So now we're moving into this generation that we like comfort, we like ease, we like things to be very, what's the word I'm looking for? We like things to be very easy, I guess.
Yeah, easy is a good word.
Right. So we look for the easy way out of things. So it comes with Apple Pay and how much we rely on technology already. Who's to say that once you get the first 100, the first 1,000, the first 100,000 people that are taking over the workforce because they have the Neuralink, because they can think, they don't have to think for themselves. They have ChatGPT in their fucking head and they know everything. I mean, how long before all those people get that? Because that's how they get a job. That's how they, provide for their families, and no one else is hiring unless you have that. No one else is hiring unless you have the jab. Excuse me.
Huh. You're touching on something very interesting. I think about this with the rise of AI, with the rise of automation. I don't think about Neuralink much these days.
I'm not really thinking about Neuralink, but I just
but it's an example. It's the social pressure. I completely get it.
Right.
The pressure to conform.
Right.
It's definitely something you experience this a lot for me anyway, with the COVID jab. And the social pressure and the people saying, oh, but you're gonna kill grandma, you're gonna kill others, like, this isn't good, you're gonna put others at risk. Even starting my own business with my brother, I mean, it's tough, don't get me wrong, and it's a gamble at first, but if you truly put your head down with anything, but with starting a business as well, I think it would be very beneficial for you long term if, like, you truly work hard and you don't just, like, bullshit it. What you're saying with the Neuralink and stuff, it could definitely happen with the touch to pay, with the social credit score. It could definitely happen.
And that was just one instance.
No. But
they could pitch something that's 10 times better.
Yeah. What I was trying to say was, like, if you push against whatever you're being pressured to do, typically you tend to rise above. I think of Kanye as another example. They brand him as crazy, and recently you can make the argument, but traditionally he would go against the grain, and he was like the most dynamic artist that there was.
Yeah.
So there's that. But there definitely is a threat of all this stuff coming to a point where, like, we can be controlled. You saw it during COVID. They were able to hoard majority of us around like animals. And I think too, we don't take into account how, like, we have the tendency to be, like, the most violent out of all the animals on this planet. Like, the human animal, even though we have civilization, like, it's just a front.
Yeah.
Our animal nature is there where, like, we can go buck wild, kill or be killed type shit, apocalyptic type stuff. And I don't think people are aware of that, man. People think, because of the standards of our society and how we live and how, you could just go to a grocery store and buy food and it's that simple. We don't take into account how, like, if shit was to really go down, if the grid, like Dennis Quaid was talking about 2 years ago with Tucker Carlson, if the grid goes down, it's going to go down any month now, but nobody's talking about that because it's all Israel or wrong.
Yeah.
If the grid does go down, we're all fucked.
Right.
We are all fucked. I have a tomato and I have a pepper that's growing in the back right there. I got a couple of plants. That's it, folks. And they're not ripe yet.
Yeah.
So I'm fucked too.
Yeah.
I'm fucked too.
Dude, I mean, and that's exactly what I talked about. That's exactly the false flag that is a possibility. I mean, the grid being shut down. I mean, I forget what.
Blame it on the Iranians.
Blame it on the Iranians. Now we're at war for Israel.
There you go. But, like, that's the thing. Nobody's talking about the grid, even though our electrical grid or our energy grid currently as it stands, to my knowledge, is not good. It's not updated. It's very vulnerable.
Right.
Why is nobody talking about that? Why aren't they talking about rolling blackouts? If we're without power for a week, you saw in Texas a couple years ago, it was crazy. But if we're without power for multiple weeks, a month, half a year,
Apocalyptic.
oh, shit would change.
Apocalyptic.
Shit would change.
I know girls that would kill someone if their phone doesn't get charged, dude. Like,
Honestly, though, that would kind of be good.
it'd be sick.
But we couldn't do this podcast. That's the only
That
problem.
would suck.
That's the only problem.
Yeah, that would suck. But
Think about that, though. Would that...
and then we're forced to. We can't do this podcast. Well, guess what? We also can't. We can't scroll Twitter. We can't fucking do. We can't watch TV. We can't do anything that would give us any sort of insight as to why whatever's happening is happening. We have to go based off of what our neighbor heard from the neighbor heard from the neighbor.
Do you think that would heal us, though?
No, I think that would wipe us out
Well,
as a
no,
civilization.
not the grid going down, but for some reason, I mean, yeah, kind of the grid going down, just losing access to the internet. Because you could argue that the internet has really fucked us.
The internet's
past
the downfall of our
years.
civilization. Yeah.
So is
I
the
think,
Unabomber right?
I think a lot about we are like we're one of like the we are the only civilization that will not, if God forbid there was a nuclear missile or a massive flood or anything that was in the Bible that would happen. We have nothing written down. We have no artifacts that would be found. We they could be found. What are they going to find? A fucking iPhone 6?
Was this by design?
I don't know. That's the problem. That's the question that I have. And then you can roll that into, Alex Jones talks a lot about the globalists, and they want a human-free civilization. They want, all the higher ups are going to have these robots, and eventually they'll just kill off all the humans
Here's my problem
that
with
can
that.
speak out against them.
I think about this often, and we often think, oh, the globalists, the elites, they want this to happen and this to happen, and they want depopulation. But
I've been looking at you a lot. My back's getting stiff.
I'm sorry.
You're fine.
Go take another pillow. Have one of mine, even.
No, I haven't.
But
this
okay,
is good.
when you think about it, and you think, okay, I understand that they want this, but then the end goal, you want to rule over that?
Right. And what is the end goal? Just constantly.
What do they strive for? Do they, if they strive for, if you have Klaus Schwab or whoever it is, Alex Soros now, because Soros is about to die, George Soros is about to die, but these elites that are controlling everything in the mass migration, once you collapse these societies, European countries and America, if they're able to do it, you want to rule over chaos?
Right.
And how? How are you even going to rule over? That doesn't make sense. If it's just a bunch of barbarism all over these countries, where will your safe haven be? Space?
Well, here's the thing, Luke.
What's the point of it, though?
Have you ever read a book called The Hunger Games?
Yes.
Seen the movie called The Hunger Games?
I haven't read the book.
Yeah, I read one of them
Tell
in
me.
school. But that's what I kind of view it as, is okay, yeah, maybe it's AI and robots for half of it, but how much is it going to be just we're no longer just free citizens, we're peasants.
But
to the global elites, because it could only be chaos for so long.
What's the attraction though to that circumstance, that 1984 thing where you have what's the point of being able to control people? You know what I mean?
Have you ever done it? Have you ever controlled someone? It's got to be an addicting feeling.
But populations,
why not?
But
why not?
But we see civilization, the beautiful things that civilization has produced. Think about America, dude. Think about all of this stuff that we've made. Everything that's been created here. The computer, for example, the iPhone has been designed here. All of this technology, the automobile. Come on, all of this stuff. Every modern thing, pretty much, a piece of technology, has been made here. All of this brand new stuff has been made here. And in civilization too, not just America, but there's obviously China, they're doing crazy stuff. But even then, that's a civilization. It's not like in a post-apocalyptic place where they don't have any freedom at all. Granted, it's a little bit different over there, but it's not like North Korea, for example. I just don't understand what the point is to all of this. Collapsing civilizations. I just don't get it. I try to think from their perspective, like what would be attractive about ruling over chaos every day?
I agree.
What is it?
I wish I could tell you.
How does that serve you?
I wish I could tell you. I don't know how it does under I don't know. However, I will say I also don't know what the attraction to fuck a child is.
It's true.
I've never done that.
That's true.
I've never been on Epstein Island. I've never been a Jeffrey Epstein. I've never been a disgusting feral individual who has, this weird tendency or whatever. But if you're someone like Jeffrey Epstein who's getting away with this pedophilia and this whatever at a small scale, wouldn't it attract you to collapse civilization and do it on a broad scale?
You know, it also it probably is.
To be King Dick, to be the ruler, the guy.
I think it might be deeper than that when you think about it. It might actually be evil, like
it is.
True evil.
Yeah,
that could be. And I haven't thought about that before.
I mean,
because
you gotta think.
We think about these as like the human perspective, right? The normal human perspective, but not supernatural forces acting upon these people as like these people are vessels for the evil to act. That's something that I didn't
It's
think.
deep, but also, I mean, there is something to be said about power. Power is attractive. That's
what they say.
Regardless. So look back at. I mean, they're civil. So you could look as recent as a president or a dictator or whatever. Like I gotta imagine being Kim Jong-un is pretty attractive. He
must live the life.
That's what I'm saying. So then go back even further. Go back to ancient times. Go back to when there were kings and queens, and go back to even further when there were pharaohs, and you just can continue to say that there's got to be something attractive about being the head of the table. You're in colonial times and you're a king, and everyone is bringing you gold, and everyone is basically bowing down to you.
Yeah,
you are their ruler.
Yeah, it's just. I can't fathom it.
You can't because you're not in that position.
But I'm not gonna lie, I definitely felt evil before. Like I've definitely felt the devil, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I know he exists.
Or regardless,
but I've also felt God, so I know he exists too. So there's that. But yeah. I don't think I haven't thought of the devil corrupting others and acting on them so that they can like do these things.
Dude,
that's a stupid way to put it, maybe.
I mean, it's not. I mean, that's exactly what we see, and it would be evil. I mean, regardless how you break it down, whether it's in a spiritual way or just using the words good and bad.
Yeah.
Like there are bad people out there that want to do bad things to us. I would imagine that there's a reason behind every school shooter. It's not just. I mean, yeah.
There's always a reason. I agree.
Right. There's a
it's
problem.
Not benign.
It's bullying. It's whatever. But you also want these people to feel inferior to you and feel control for once in your life. So why would that not be attractive to somebody who's never been in control, who's never had everything in the palm of their hand, and now all of a sudden you do? Now, there's a lot of pros and cons, like you said, to collapsing civilization, because you'll never be able to have the innovation, I guess, regardless, when you get to that point.
There's more cons.
There's 100% more cons in my mind, but I don't know that we'll ever be able to think in that grand scheme of things.
Like, we're so lucky, dude, and I can totally see some shit going sideways where maybe we don't live in apocalyptic times, but if shit was to happen like the Great Depression, I mean, it's happened, dude. They keep raising the debt ceiling, but it's only a matter of time.
It's going to collapse.
They're kicking that can down the road, and eventually shit's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I often think, am I going to look back in 20 years and live in the past and think, I remember when things were great.
Right.
And things aren't even really great right now. Things were really great pre 9/11, like when we were a couple months old.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see it we'll see it in our lifetime. Where what happens if all the money that we put away for our 401k and our Social Security get wiped, and we can't?
I'm not relying on
and
it.
we can't retire.
I'm not relying on it.
But I'm saying what
I
also
know.
what happens? I mean, what happens when currency isn't a thing?
It's a scary thing.
Yeah.
And we could go all night. You want to get a coffee break real quick?
Yeah, we could do a quick coffee break.
All right. We'll see you folks. We're back. Talking about Epstein, though, going back to him, there is somebody that predicted everything that happened with Epstein. And his name is Nicholas J. Fuentes. You may be familiar with him if you've been watching our show recently. And so what we are going to do is we're going to play Nicholas J. Fuentes predicting everything that is happening currently with Epstein. So here you go.
1 week before Israel attacked Iran, does anybody remember at all that Elon Musk said that Trump would not release the Epstein files because he was named in them? Everybody forget that? Are we really that stupid?
Yeah,
Do we have
did.
amnesia?
We did forget.
Literally 1 week. The LA riots kicked off on the Friday before last? And just days before, Elon Musk.
Anybody
went on
remember
Twitter
those,
and
by
said,
the way?
"Hey, the only reason Trump won't release the Epstein files is because he's in them. Enjoy." And Trump didn't reply at all to that. Trump played that off. Elon deleted it, pretended like it never happened. That was on Tuesday of last week. On Thursday, Israel attacked. Anybody find that bizarre at all? Coincidence?
I don't believe in
Because
coincidences,
after all, who
Nick.
did Jeffrey Epstein work for? How did Jeffrey Epstein make his billions? Jeffrey Epstein was, of course, connected to Israeli intelligence. His girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, her father, Robert Maxwell, was a Mossad agent. Jeffrey Epstein was able to get his fortune from the Mega Group, which was a group of pro-Israel Zionist Israeli donors like Les Wexner and others.
He funds Ohio State.
Jeffrey Epstein was a creature of the Israel lobby, running blackmail for Israeli intelligence. And Donald Trump was on his jet. Donald Trump was a friend of his. Epstein claimed this. Now, who knows what's in the files? Maybe it's something, maybe it's nothing.
Really makes you think. Now, flash forward, I believe if you go out of this real quick, because it was a part of my tweet, 6/17 is when this episode aired, and it makes you put things into perspective.
Yes, it does. So he was right about something else.
Yeah, he's been nailing it pretty much so far.
Yeah, for the whole year. I've been following him since I've been watching the live since March.
Yeah.
The episodes on Rumble.
Yeah.
I saw the clips right after the election. I saw my first Nick Fuentes clip, which was the My Body or Your Body, My Choice forever, and it was funny. Whatever,
it was troll moment.
Funny troll moment,
yeah.
whatever. But ever since then, it's like this guy has been getting a lot of momentum. And I feel like a broken record, but I mean, his views are like really gaining steam.
Yeah, I mean, dude, he's
really
going on InfoWars now. InfoWars
like
is
2 times a month at least.
Yeah,
at least.
Yeah, I mean, he was on it twice last week.
That's true.
He was on it twice last week.
He had the Dinesh D'Souza debate.
And the Dinesh D'Souza debate. Now we're gonna sit here and be told by Pam Bondy today on 7/8 that there's absolutely no connection to Epstein and the Mossad. Do we trust what Pam Bondy says?
No. I believe she was the lead attorney general in Palm Beach where Epstein was doing all this shit in Florida. So why wouldn't she have done anything then?
Well, I sent you this article, Luke.
Okay.
So we have Pam Bondy and the FBI. We have Kash Patel and Bongino coming out saying that they're closing the investigation into Jeffrey Epstein. There's no client list.
Did you go on X? You sent it on X?
No, I sent it over text because it's a... I just sent it for you to put it on the post. I'll read it. So it's an article from the Times, the New York Times. Jeffrey Epstein's victim's diary contradicts FBI blackmail claims. The Jeffrey Epstein victim, Virginia Guffrey, claimed that in her diary that the sex offender taped her being abused by other men to use for blackmail, seemingly contradicting a memorandum by the FBI and the Justice Department. The memo published on Monday stated that there was no credible evidence found that Epstein blackmailed prominent individuals as a part of his actions. Guffrey, who died by suicide in her home in Perth, Australia in April, had left behind a diary of her final months, which her family shared with the Times to tell the full story of her life. Now, I remember this, Luke. I remember her saying that she would never kill herself. This is the same girl whose family swore that she would not be suicidal and all these things. And the problem that I have, and I've been going down different rabbit holes. Obviously, we went down the Project Bluebeam rabbit hole,
and that took us to a whole different place.
That took us very dark, but I'll keep it light, meaning anything that revolves around anything shady. Now, I've been down UFO rabbit holes a lot, but we also have different rabbit holes when it comes to Epstein, when it comes to Israel, the Mossad,
right,
the CIA, anything that could be leaked to us by a whistleblower. 90% of the time, those whistleblowers, and I'm not talking about the government ones that have to get clearance from the Pentagon.
Right.
I'm talking about genuine people that were there. They all fucking kill themselves.
Yeah.
They all wind up dead. Themselves.
They all wind up dead. Yeah.
And the problem is this poor girl, she's the perfect candidate to be a suicide victim and for it to just get brushed under the rug.
I actually remember this. This was a couple weeks ago. Am I correct?
Which one?
The one of the victims.
Well, this isn't the lady. She's not the one who killed herself. She killed herself in April.
Oh.
Yeah. I think that's what it said.
Maybe I'm remembering.
Yeah, in April.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyways,
this sounds familiar, though. I remember this story.
When was the article written? I mean, no, the article was published today, yesterday, actually. But anyways, you might have remembered the whole suicide thing.
There was a story. There was a story where it was like one of the. She survived Epstein, and like she was close to death, or there was an accident. And something happened, and she said that
she might be the one lady.
Do you remember
that's alive.
that?
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
She's still speaking out to this day.
Okay, good.
I'm
sorry.
No, but
continue on. I'm sorry.
So this continues on. And this is a quote from her journal. "I used to be watched by Epstein's hidden cameras, which I have seen myself," she wrote in an undated entry. "The FBI have the archive footage showing me being abused by other men as blackmail. The problem is that I have so far," and we saw Pam Bondy say it, whether it was today or yesterday, that all the footage that she got was just all child pornography.
Correct.
And you know, she doubled down on all that. What are we doing with that child pornography then? Are we using Face ID to figure out these people? I think regardless, why are we not at least being lied to? Why can't we at least say no? It wasn't, you know, these big government people, but here's a list of fucking people or something. Like we have so much power right now with the way that intelligence is that, go ahead.
Because of what you said earlier, power corrupts.
Exactly.
And they campaigned. They literally campaigned on this.
Exactly.
I'm not going to pull up the
set here.
You're good. I'm not going to pull up the videos, but I mean, we've seen Kash Patel saying like,
power
you will get full
corrupts.
Transparency. I will do whatever I can. Bongino, same thing.
Yeah.
Pam Bondi, same thing.
I have such a hard time. I think this is pretty much over. I have a hard time believing anything that the CIA or FBI tell us.
The only one that you could believe is Nick Fuentes. As crazy as that sounds in 2025, Nick Fuentes is the only person that you can believe. You find yourself finding things out before everybody else does.
Yeah.
And like he's the only one that I can trust that's like honestly telling the truth. Even Tucker, I trust him majority of the time, but some things, knowing that his father was in the CIA or working as an arm of the CIA, I question things. I can't keep my guard down.
And that's the thing. Nick questions Tucker.
Yeah.
A lot.
But he has a beef with Tucker.
Yeah, which I mean is understandable, but Then you have somebody like Alex Jones who seems to have his guard down when it comes to Tucker, and he's wanting to introduce Nick and Tucker and amend that relationship.
Let's talk about Alex Jones then, because I've been listening to him a lot more, and I really didn't listen to him before, but I think right here. And I think it's really attractive that he has InfoWars. Did you see he's talking about he wants to build it 24/7?
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. I like some of the other guys too. Owen Schroyer. He's really interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Very interesting. Alex, let me tell you, he has been accused of being a clone. He's been accused of being Israeli intelligence. And he often says, like, I don't want to go so deep into this because of where it leads to the anti-Semitism and stuff like that. But what he said today on the live broadcast was very interesting. He's talking about, I don't want to go like full critique of Trump because like I need Trump because the Democratic Party is coming after me. I didn't know they sued his parents too.
Dude.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
And
almost bankrupted his parents.
Yeah, that's what he said. Oh gosh, I can't even imagine just putting yourself in his shoes.
And that's the problem I have with all this. I could be totally wrong. However, I don't know when it comes to Alex Jones how much of it is also grifting, because we're talking about two different people here. Someone like Nick Fuentes, who's making all of his money based off of super chats.
That's literally it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, people spending
no sponsors,
spending $1,000 on the spot to say hi, Nick, or to say something stupid,
or they're buying the merch every once in a while.
When it drops. However, you also have somebody like Alex Jones who's trying to keep his head afloat, and he breaks every fucking 90 seconds. It feels like sometimes, always pushing his store. That is his sponsor. However, I feel like he pushes it to an overkill.
The lane blow. My brother does a better impression.
I feel like he pushes it to an extreme. So sometimes it's hard to figure that out. But also, what would you do if the Sandy Hook victims' parents are suing you for billions and they want to take your name and they want to make sure you're off the air? Someone who is a conspiracy theorist, but someone who called 9/11, dude.
Yes.
Someone who's been right about so much. And he just sounds crazy, but then he's right.
And, like, here's the thing. If you are a parent of a child that was in that tragic event, okay? I understand how it would be very offensive to have somebody say, a very public person say, oh yeah, this didn't exist, right? Isn't that essentially what he said? It didn't happen. It's fake. I don't know where the legal standing is, though, that they thought they could win a bunch of money.
I'm sorry. I thought we had freedom of speech unless you're critiquing Israel.
Okay, well, legally, though, what is defamation? Because defamation is something that's...
But that wouldn't even be fucking defamation. I mean, regardless, I feel like Diddy has more of a case against Cassie in defamation than he does being a denier of Sandy Hook. That's just like a bunch of Jewish people fucking suing a Holocaust denier.
Well, you said it right there. It's Anti-Defamation League is inherently Jewish. What is the definition of? Can you Google the definition of defamation? Because
we'll get the proper definition of it.
Let's and then I'll pull it up. I'll fix it in post. But I've always wondered, because is it like character assassination? What is it?
It's the act of harming another person's reputation through false statements. It encompasses both libel, which is written and published defamation, and slander, which is spoken defamation. Now, regardless, it's someone's reputation, so I think it would be like more of as far as it is to say a Harvey Weinstein,
which looks like he's going to get out of prison too.
Where let's say none of it's true.
Okay.
Then you sue those people for defamation. However, and it's crude, but I don't know where the defamation has standing when it comes to. I
I just want to say for the public real quick, we're not saying that Sandy Hook didn't happen. We definitely think it happened. We're not saying what Alex Jones did was good. We think it's very bad. I just want to put that out there. But at the same time, I don't understand where it gives people the right to sue him for billions of dollars. That's all. Again, not agreeing with what he said at all by any means. Don't want to put that out there. But I just don't understand. You know what I mean? It's like he's gotten that wrong, and he was very wrong, and he acknowledged that it was a bad time in his life. He was abusing alcohol, all that stuff, and he's got his life on track. But I don't know where freedom of speech stops in that scenario. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what we're trying to say.
Yeah, so...
What would you pull up?
I wanted to see exactly what he said.
Okay. That looks like a New York Times article, right? It's a New York Times.
Yes, New York Times.
And so what you're doing is you're just pulling up like the quotes, like the exact quotes.
Yeah, so it looks like Mr. Jones' Sandy Hook commentary went on for years. Here's a small sampling of what he said. So these are quotes that the New York Times say that he said.
So this wasn't just one time. This was like a build-up. And eventually got to the point where it was so much.
Yeah, slow news day apparently when he was saying that, because he could have went a lot. He could have said a lot better things. But anyways, my gut is with the timing and everything that happened, this is staged. And I've been saying the last few months, get ready for big mass shootings, and then magically it happens. Another quote says, "Folks, we got to get private investigators up to." This is fucked. Folks, we got to get private investigators up to Sandy Hook right now, because I'm telling you, this stinks to the highest heavens. We're sorry for everybody's losses. Whatever, we're investigating this, though. It's a phony $3 bill. You've got parents laughing, ha, 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 and then they walk over to the camera and go, boo-hoo-hoo. And not just one, but a bunch of parents doing this, and then photos of kids that are still alive, they said died. I mean, they think we're so dumb. Why did... we'll skip that one. I watched the footage. It looks like a drill. There's a lot. So long story short,
and obviously
his main
too,
thing
when you read text, it's different than in
100%.
But that's pretty.
And regardless,
that's pretty bad.
Yeah. So he went hard on this, and the overall thing is that the family members of Sandy Hook shooting victims, he accused them of being paid actors and suggesting that their children were still alive.
That is a suable offense. Potentially. I could see where you would have the grounds that somebody would think you'd be able to win a case.
Yes and no. I mean, at the end of the day, you're still suing somebody for money that he doesn't have, for billions of dollars. You want to get him to shut up. You want him off the air.
If you think about it from the parents' perspective, though,
absolutely,
I could understand.
I see it.
I could definitely understand.
I see it, dude.
I just never understood like what the context was, and now I get it.
Yeah. I don't know. I think possibly, because wouldn't it be fucking crazy if he was right? Dude, wouldn't that be nuts? And you're never going to fucking find out if he was, and he probably isn't. I'd say probably, because he fucking predicted 9/11, dude. I mean, I don't think anybody but Jesus Christ himself could do that. And I'm not comparing the two. I'm not comparing the two.
What are you saying?
All I'm saying is give the guy another chance, bro. Give the guy another... Bill Cosby's going back on tour, dude.
Is he actually?
I think he had a show.
Have you seen his comedy?
No.
It's good.
Is it really?
Dude, go watch a special.
Wait,
he's
what are
hilarious.
you talking about? Like, oh, I thought you meant like the new... old shit. Yeah, he's a good comedian. I thought you were talking about like you saw like something that he recorded like new.
No, he's like 85 now. But
I want to say he did a show when he got out of prison.
Really?
I think so.
He might be older than 85.
Yeah.
He might be in his 90s.
Maybe. But
dude, he was...
Dude, but regardless, so...
Sorry.
No, I mean... We're just going in on Alex Jones now, and I think at some point in time, like, you went hardcore about that, and ultimately, whatever happens with the lawsuit happens with the lawsuit. I don't think what he said was grounds to kick him off of every social media platform.
But you also remember back then they were doing whatever they could to kick everybody off.
Agreed.
And he wasn't even kicked off for that. He was kicked off for the election stuff.
Yeah.
So
True.
there's that. But going back to it, man, he was talking about how today he doesn't want to go too hard on it. Oh boy, he wasn't going to go too hard on Israel because he has to essentially be attached at the hip to Trump because the Democratic Party has already said like they're going to basically end his life.
Yeah, they
if they get into power
they've
again.
threatened. He went in today about it, how they've threatened his life, and I mean, let's really go down the rabbit hole of the both of them. Nick Fuentes literally had someone who died an hour later
tried to kill him,
show up to his house with guns, try to kill him. No public media, nothing said about him,
nothing,
because he's blackballed. And then you have Alex Jones. People called and threatened him all the time when it came to the 9/11 stuff.
Yeah.
He was threatened out the ass, and you have somebody that can. I mean, I think the way I look at it is if you are going to dick ride Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan finds Alex Jones fascinating, regardless of what he says about Sandy Hook, he is still friends with Alex Jones. He won't have him on the show because I don't know why, because Tucker had him on Spotify.
Yeah, I think he's allowed to be on. Just for whatever reason.
But anyways, I mean, if you're in the left wing, I understand why you want to silence him. But if you're in the right wing, I don't understand why at least giving him the platform like X or giving him a platform like a Tucker Carlson podcast where Tucker just constantly gave him praise.
There's two right wings.
Oh, absolutely. There's two right wings.
It's interesting to find that out.
I know. And welcome to the other part.
Yeah.
We are officially in the other part.
Yeah. That's crazy too. We'll talk about Dean Withers in a second. But
fuck that pussy. We don't even need to get into that shit.
You don't want to clickbait?
No, I mean, we talked about it. Yeah, we could react to the clip because he's a little pussy.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But we'll do that in a couple minutes. But think about this, dude. Before the election and growing up, we just thought there was the Democrats and the Republicans.
Yeah.
And now there's a split. You have the progressives and you have the traditional moderate Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the neocon mainstream conservative and Republicans, and then you have the America First Republicans, or the America First people on the right, and then the neocon right.
Yeah,
and it's very interesting.
I definitely think we're in the latter half of the Republican Party now. Go ahead.
They call us the far right.
Yeah, the ultra far right. Even Trump refers to it as the ultra far right.
Yeah, he did that today. I was like, what are you talking about?
Trump is very much dismantling the MAGA movement.
Yeah.
He's dismantling the Republican Party.
Yeah.
And I think he did it solely alone. I mean, he started it with the H-1B visas. And now I mean, we're circling back now to something we had already touched on, but I think that's where we got divided quite a bit.
Yeah.
Quite a bit. And I think
almost
that's where
immediately.
Almost immediately we got taken aback. We said, Elon.
Yeah.
Elon, what are you talking about? You want to I thought
Vivek.
I thought you were America First. Vivek. Oh, I thought you were America First. And now it's but look at all these illegal immigrants that are smarter. Or I mean, they're not illegal, I guess, if they're here on H-1B visas, but it's
I know.
Oh, look at all these smart people from another country. Let's bring them here before we give the Americans a chance to. Let's even go as far as fire current Americans that have this job to allow these people with H-1B visas in.
I know. But here's what I think.
And let's keep around the illegal farmers because they're not hurting anything.
I happen to think the people on the America First far right, I think our ideas are the best. I just happen to.
Why they're not.
I happen to agree with.
And I think
because our ideas have solutions.
I agree with you, and I'll even go as far as to say, as maybe disgusting to a normal, or not a normal person, but as someone who could be listening to a Nick Fuentes stream or anything like that, where he does say some pretty crude and crass things on there. Probably the least violent as well.
Yeah.
Like we it's not like we just want to kill and eliminate all these people. It's like, no, we just want to find a center ground where maybe black on black crime isn't so high. Maybe people are happier. Maybe we figure out a way to allow immigration to be a thing, but let's not open the border to 20 million people.
It's the only ideology that's talking about replacement rate and how we have to have kids, and it's the only one pushing a nuclear family. Conservative Inc. isn't doing that really.
No, I mean, I would say conservatives as a whole are kind of more family oriented and family based.
But Conservative Inc. isn't telling everybody, like, you need to have kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but also I don't know how far right. I don't know. I'll
'Cause, like,
I'll divide myself even as far as like I cringe when like Charlie Kirk says that if it's a rape or incest baby that we don't have the right to termination. I cringe at that. I know you're I know you're a Catholic, and I don't know where that stands with your faith, but I don't understand. I mean, incest to me is an absolute no because of the possibilities.
Well, incest is against the Bible, first of all.
Correct, but so is rape.
Exactly.
So those are both things that are against the Bible. However, it was I guess I don't know.
If the woman decides to keep the baby, if she's raped, God bless her. I don't expect her to.
No.
And also, too, I don't know if abortion should be. I don't think it should be legal just as birth control.
Right.
But at the same time, like, it should be rare.
Right.
And if there is like the life of the mother in a scenario where the mother has a kid, 2 kids, 3 kids, it's like you want them to grow up without their mom. It's a complex issue.
Right.
So it's
hard. Even as far as I saw, and this will divide the audience, but I saw a clip of Charlie Kirk at whatever event he was at, and there was a woman speaker who came up with a toddler who said that she decided to have a rapist baby, and that toddler she was holding was the baby. And so
that's not something that you say publicly.
That's exactly what I thought. Like it made me cringe, and not in like a you're a bad mom kind of way, and not in like a, I don't know, like I don't see if I don't see that if my sister, if my girlfriend, if my mother, if anybody, any one of them, had their rapist's baby. I don't know, dude. I don't know. Because then you just go back to the gene pool, and it's
Olivia Benson.
What fucking
SVU.
Yeah.
It's just it's one of those things. But here's the thing, okay? They try and divide us for that.
Yeah.
That's like 1%.
Right.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's what they use to divide us.
Right.
We're arguing over 1%.
Right.
We're arguing over this far.
Right. Meanwhile, people who had consensual sex and want to kill their babies are going outside of the DNC and getting abortions.
Yeah, you see videos. Oh, yeah, I've had abortions 5, 6, 7 times, and I'm going to get another one.
Yeah.
Like, women do that. It's like, what are you doing?
Plan Bs are $50, bro. Abortions are $500.
I just don't get it. But also, too, let's be honest. With this movement, there are some things that we have to roll back.
Oh, absolutely, without a doubt.
Including their right to vote.
I agree.
That's my personal
Basically,
opinion.
women's rights in general. Oh, wait, are you saying women shouldn't vote?
Yeah, I don't think they should vote. Absolutely not. Where I would vote to take that away in the heartbeat. The 19th Amendment needs to go. And that's why I'm saying I'm not co-signing. You don't have to co-sign what I'm saying at all. But I'm just telling you, within the Groyper, especially the Groyper movement, but the far-right movement, it's got to go.
I don't know, because I could sit here and I'll tell you right now that if my girlfriend, who has told me multiple times in a joking way, but also in just like we're in our mid-20s and life is really fucking hard with a kid right now. Yeah. She constantly reminds me that she would rather be fucking a stay-at-home mom taking Quaaludes and cleaning the house. Like, that's literally, it's to a T what she's told me that she wants to do. So she's like, I've asked her, and she goes, take them away, dude.
Mine too. That's somebody you got to marry, by the way.
Right.
For the folks watching, if you're unsure about what woman to marry, don't marry the one with the blue hair and is talking about...
And a septum piercing.
Yeah, and is talking about her career in women's studies. Don't marry a...
What is that, by the way?
It's bullshit.
Why
That's
is that
what it
even
is.
Like, you could get a degree in that.
Also, women have only had access to bank accounts for 50 years, right? I think they got it in like the 1970s. Ask a random woman on the street, how much student debt they're in, and it'll tell you why women have not been able to have bank accounts since before.
I'll tell you right now. You want to know? Clip this. You want to know why women weren't allowed to have bank accounts?
Say it.
And why they probably shouldn't right now?
Say it.
Is because Target Circle Week and Amazon Prime Day are in the same fucking week, and I'm going insane.
Are you?
Insane.
Oh my.
Not for me, because my money's being spent.
Tell me more about this Target Circle Week.
Dude, and I was actually just talking to a guy about this not too long, or today actually, where I think America strived more, and again, this is going to be crash and asinine, and we're two kids in our 20s bullshitting here.
Nah, man, we're like leading the world right now.
Right. When would you say that America was at its peak?
Oh, they're not going to like this one.
Would you say when it was...
The 50s. 50s
Yeah.
and 60s.
Yeah, so...
That's when segregation was
Well,
happening. That's when segregation was happening. What are you saying?
Yes. The downfall of civilizations is when we gave them access to our water fountains. No. It was the home life that was... It might be more... glamorized, is that a word?
Yeah.
Glamorized.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. It might be more glamorized now, looking back, just as most history things are,
Yeah.
and people miss the 80s, they miss the 90s.
Of
I was
course.
born in the wrong generation. But were families I would say families back then were stronger, were, I guess, the divorce rate was not as high. And what did we have? Women that were cooking and cleaning and taking Quaaludes and, doing all that. And men who were coming home and beating them if the meatloaf was cold. Like, I just think civilization went downhill. And I'm not necessarily saying that women shouldn't have the right to vote, because I think there's a lot of great Republican women in office right now currently.
Speak for yourself. I would vote to take it all away in a heartbeat. That's just me.
And that's the end of the segment.
I think all of those Republican women suck.
Tulsi?
I mean, look at her, what she's doing right now.
Now, yeah.
Marjorie Taylor Greene cheated on her husband. Nancy Mace, she has 2 kids. She doesn't act like a mother. She
Yeah.
posted her nudes in Congress as part of that bill.
Yeah.
Who else do we have? Lauren Boebert. She's like 43 years old. She's a grandma. She used to be an escort. She got caught on camera fondling that guy on the first date.
Yeah.
On the first date.
I forgot about that.
I really don't think the Democrat congresswoman, I forget her name, she took her baby on the stage to speak in the House for whatever reason, talking
Yeah.
about, I think it was talking about the big beautiful bill. It's like, you should be at home. Even the press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, the day after she had her baby, she's going to work. Stop. Go home. Go home.
Yeah, I'd recant my statement. I want to be more based. I apologize.
No, listen. No,
I'm taking the base side
don't,
of
you don't.
things.
You don't have to co-sign my
No,
thing.
I'm
This is
co-signing.
controversial. I will
It's
tell
very
anybody.
controversial,
We're
but I'll
taking it away.
I'll co-sign.
I've told my mom I would vote to take your rights away. You should not be allowed to vote. You should not be allowed to vote. I ask her, and it's more so me venting to her and just talking at her.
Yeah.
And she
like, says yes.
And
Luke.
she's like, okay, good night.
Yeah.
Not even mad. She's just tired of hearing my voice.
Right, which would make sense. I can
She'll
understand.
call me asking, how was your day? And then 15 minutes later, I'm telling her about the Jews.
Yeah, you mean the Frisbees?
Yeah, the Frisbee. Sorry. That's
no,
my life.
I mean I
That's my life. My mind has been blown, and I can't go back.
I've went in on it with my mother as well. Not exactly to take her right away, but I
just the right to vote. I feel like that's fine.
Why stop there? No, I'm kidding.
Continue. I'm sorry.
We're in deep. No, I don't know. I mean, we're in a situation right now, I guess, where we would never be able to do that without an uproar and an uprising of what? I don't even know. I just don't know that we live in a time that would even be possible, because of the millions of people that would be against that, and it wouldn't even be just women that are against that.
It would be the feminine men.
There would be men against that as well. And I do think that there are strong-headed women out there that have the right idea. I think that there's also a chemical difference between man and woman. We've talked about this. I mean, how many decisions go through emotion before they get decided on the women's side of things?
And I feel like this like you're saying, this was made as like, oh, you're gonna say women are emotional when we were growing up, but like, it's true.
Yeah. Like okay, listen. I'll say it. I'll say it.
Say it again.
Not again. I'll say it. This is new. I'm sorry that you have a period. I'm so sorry. I'm sure it sucks. I'm sure it's painful. I'm sure it's a miserable week.
But that period never built civilization.
Bro, but you've been doing it since you were 14. You're going to act like a cunt for the next fucking 60 years?
We just went back to our roots.
Dude, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Like, listen, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that God created you and you have to shed your lining and you bleed and it's embarrassing that you bleed through your clothes and it hurts and you got cramps and I'm sorry. But don't act like a bitch. Like, again, I'm sure it fucking sucks. And I want to hone that in. I'm sure it sucks.
You have compassion. You have empathy.
I have empathy. But I've also spoken that if you are going through something that you have gone through since you were 13 or younger, you gotta be able to manage it at like 25.
I thought you were gonna say man up.
Also, speaking of, we're talking about the women's right to vote and all this stuff. Do you think the demographic of women that are on antidepressants or some sort of hormone, not hormone, but an antidepressant and anti-anxiety and anti-whatever, all these pills, you think it's higher in women than it is men?
Let's look it up.
Give it a quick Google.
Look it up.
Yeah.
Go on the Googles.
Come on, AI, help me out.
My prediction is, probably the women have it more. The women are more on the SSRIs and the anti-anxiety and the depression medication. That's my bet. Let's see what comes up here. If it loads, read it to me, Daddy.
Okay, so women are significantly more likely to use antidepressant medications than men. For example, during 2015 and 2018, 17.7% of women used antidepressants compared to 8.4% of men. And that was 2015 to 2018. 13.2% of adults. So 17.7 compared to 8.4. So yeah, astonishingly higher. And that was back then, and that's really like the only study that I'm seeing.
I remember when I was 19 years old, or 20 years old, and no, I was 18 years old in 2019.
Yeah.
I read a study where it was talking about women that were on, birth control for a significant amount of time. It changed who they were attracted to. And then when they got off of it, there was one woman in a study that was in this relationship. She ended up getting off her birth control, and she was no longer attracted to her boyfriend specifically because I guess it changed like her brain chemistry. And for whatever reason, this birth control pill changed what type of guy she would be attracted to based off of messing with her hormones. Have you heard something like that?
I probably have, yeah. I've also, we could just go off of fucking TikTok trends where it's like, there's a trend that women fall out of love or fall out of attraction with their girl.
I've seen that.
Or with their guy at some point in time throughout the relationship, and then it comes back, or you hope it comes back, or something like that. And a lot of people agree with that. I think there's also an issue where every woman wants a soft man, but at their core they want a provider and a protector.
Facts.
Yeah.
Even the liberal ones, bro.
Yeah.
Even the liberal ones.
Yeah.
Like, and this is something that I don't like struggle with, but I think about. Like, sometimes I'll second guess myself because we don't have fights, but if you have a disagreement, if you have like an argument here or there, and maybe you cave first and you apologize first, but then like you really think about it, like what would men in the 50s and 60s do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's our responsibility to continue the civilization and be the strong man that she's actually looking, because she is looking for it. Whether or not she'll show you or not, she is looking for that.
Granted, at the end of the day, the only reason that we're apologizing is to move on.
Right, correct. But sometimes, like, and I'm not painting her, like, she'll apologize first sometimes too, but I always think about this as like being the man, not being a dick, but being the man. There's a difference between being toxic with your masculinity and like actually being a strong man, the leader of your household. And so that's what I've been cognizant of, and we're just trying to improve off it, man.
Yeah. We went a while. We went on a lot of different things. It's also 10:15.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, I swear to God.
Well, we're not talking about Dean Withers.
Yeah, fuck Dean Withers. He's a pussy.
This has been a really interesting episode with a lot of clippable moments. I'll say that.
I don't even know where the fuck. I don't even know what we talked about. Epstein for a lot of it, but then we went on a lot of tangents. And apparently, women shouldn't vote.
Well, we'll see if that gets a lot of traction on YouTube. Fingers crossed. Yeah. If not, we'll go to Rumble.
Yeah, we might be forced to go to Rumble.
Imagine.
Catch us in those super chats in a Groiper stream, dude.
Imagine. Well, everybody, hopefully, if you are watching, if you are one of the 5 people watching, we just thank you for your support. We thank you for the 3,000 watch hours that we're scheduled to get in the next couple of days. Hopefully, we can start super chat and have merch. Would be fun.
Yeah.
Subscriptions would be great.
A whole bunch of fun stuff.
Yeah, a whole bunch of fun stuff coming. Maybe if we get enough money, we can fund skits.
I mean, I would be down.
I'd be down too. It's all about the time, really. And right now, we both don't have any. So thank you for all of the appreciation, all of the love. Smash the follow button. Give us a like. And thank you.
Fuck yeah.
We'll see ya.